Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Road and Plate Series, where we see NASCAR trucks kind of intermingling between the road courses and the super speedways. Qualifying is ending up here in Canada, and it is going to be another fantastic one. As always, I'm your host, James E. Spring, the Action 1080p 60 frames a second on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you guys so much, as always, for showing up, supporting the league, supporting the series. And tonight, we are going to be pinning the Facebook page on the YouTube side of the broadcast in the chat. So make sure you give those guys a like, give them a follow, and stay up to date on all the upcoming race shenanigans. It is round 2 of the season here today. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, going to be another great race in Canada. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too badly in my my stereotypical American accent. And as always, thank you to the fans, friends, and family tuning in, supporting the league, supporting the drivers, as well as supporting the broadcast. So let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor or device, and if not, they just about always go back and watch this thing over, and they can definitely see who is out there and giving them support from the YouTube side of the chat. So waiting on a few more drivers to finish up qualifying here. Looks like we have 19 drivers have made their way out. And wait on a few last-minute stragglers to finish up qualifying. I think Chuck Labano is going to be one of the last drivers out on track, as one of 2 Canadians out on the circuit. Hopefully he's a little bit familiar with this road course. And it looks like, there we go, the checkered is out here for qualifying, and we are going to get this party started here tonight. Let's go and get the grid queued up and underway, as it looks like drivers are starting to make their way out onto the raceway. Starting on pole, Michael McCoy, the number 33 machine. Dustin Bally starting second. Brandon Brush starting third. Mike Thompson Jr. starts fourth. Chuck Labano starting fifth. Mark Royce starts sixth. Dan Ott starting seventh. Clint Fletcher starting eighth. Evan Hoopchak starting ninth. Jay Bass starting 10th. Samuel Stoner starts 11th. Tom Went starting 12th. Cycling on back, we've got Miss Laura Wiseman. She's starting 13th. Michael Gudger starting 14th. Faison Sheik starts 15th. Brian Thomas starting 16th. Keith Waldorf starting 17th. Chris Winslow starting 18th. And Nick Seraph will round out the 19-truck grid here today. And let's get ready for action. 30 laps on the docket here today. Now, there is going to be a stage caution at the end of lap 19. That's going to put it about an 8-lap shootout to cap off the day here. Starting to see some fans showing up here to support their favorite racers, the Road and Plate Series, our first road course of the season. Now, we saw last week at Daytona a lot of fireworks, a lot of action. So I'm going to be interested to see. We haven't seen these guys run on road courses before, at least with this league. So it's going to be interesting to see who some of the maybe road course experts are. Now, last week it was Brandon Brush in the top spot, accompanied by Mark Royce and Jay Bass rounding out the podium. That is going to give Brandon Brush a 4-point lead over Royce, an 8-point lead over Jay Bass. So it looks like we're still waiting on Michael Gudger and Nick Seraph to take the grid. So once those two are lined up, queued up, ready to go, we will be underway here. All eyes will be on Barney, our flagman, to get this grid started. But we are going to do a little bit of eye pacing behind the iRacing safety Porsche. So we are underway. The NASCAR trucks, the first road course of the season here in Canada. Michael McCoy, Dustin Bolly will be that front row. Brandon Brush, Mike Thompson, your second row. Mark Royce and Chuck Labano will be the third row here today. Safety car is in. We wait, taking a look at the flag stand. And it looks like the green flag is out here. The first road course of the season, Michael McCoy with a big launch. And the 33 Toyota, Dustin Bolly following in hot pursuit, the number 24. So Toyota 1 and 2 here in qualifying. Brandon Brush, Mike Thompson, third and fourth, both in Chevrolet. Mark Royce, our current fastest Ford on track. The number 44 has grabbed one spot early on, taking over the 5th place position. It's going to be a long run here before we get to that first stage caution. And so far, I'm already very impressed. The field's been very, very clean here. Now, these drivers should be able to go the whole stage on one tank of fuel. Now, a report looks like Michael Gudger in the 64 and Nick Seraph in the 523 did not make their way out onto the circuit. I just saw, yes, that's Evan Hoopchak, the number 7 Ford, taking the spot away from Jay Bass. Samuel Stoner also sliding through here. Now, already seeing some drivers hop out of line. That was Laura Wiseman trying to guard the inside, but here comes Sheik, the number 15 Ford. Wiseman loses a spot, falls back to 13th, but I see a crash report out on track. It's Keith Waldrop has some sort of issue in that number 58 Chevrolet. Let's take a little bit of a peek, see what might have happened there. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. There's Wiseman right ahead. And that number 58 just losing the back end for a brief moment. So really wouldn't even call that a crash. More of a bobble, I would say. Here's the race between Stoner and Bass. The battle for the top 10. Stoner, the number 65. Bass, the 53. Michael McCoy still leading about a 4/10 advantage. As here we go, a little bit of action. Bass trying to capitalize against Stoner. Looks like he's going to hold on to the 10th place spot, exactly where he qualified. Stoner falls back to 11th, his original qualifying position. If we go back up front, looks like Dustin Bali putting the pressure on Michael McCoy's 33. And look at that breakaway, 1.8 seconds up over Brandon Brush in that final podium spot. There's Bali, number 24, the bright yellow Toyota. Running on screen, the 33 of Michael McCoy. On board with Dustin Bali, losing a little bit of time here to McCoy. He was within 0.2 of a second. Currently 0.7 separating the top two. But I think Bali's been putting in the work on the road courses. And look at that, a ton of ground gained up under braking. But it looks like Michael McCoy, working on this slow in, fast out, actually gains about another tenth and a half there. McCoy, the fastest lap of 1:43.47. It's answered by Mike Thompson Jr. back and forth to 1:15. Thompson actually showing the fastest lap there, so must have been a couple hundredths or so faster out of that 1:15 machine. So Thompson currently trying to track down Brandon Brush, who's holding on to that final podium spot, but we've got more problems for Keith Waldrop. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident for that 58 machine. Is it going to be a little bit too much curbing? This doesn't look like he has the truck settled at all here. A little bit of a liberal application of the throttle. And I mean, these are not designed for road courses, I've got to say, for the fans at home. If you're watching one of these races for the first time, these trucks are made to run in ovals and pretty much only ovals. So the lack of incidents we've seen so far really shows how well these drivers are holding on to it here. Oh, there's Sam Stoner as I say that. Sends it sliding around. There goes Sheik, there goes Thomas, there goes Went. I think Laura Wiseman also grabbed a spot here from that number 65 machine. There also goes Chris Winslow in the 45. So look at that good timing. That was Jay Bast. Flat track in that number 53 machine. All sorts of out of shape here. And I don't know how he's able to hold on to it. We got Steve-O join us in the spectator area. Not quite sure which racer that is. I know he's one of our racers. We're watching a three-truck battle between Dan Ott, Mark Royce, Clint Fletcher, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Our chargers right now is Sheik and Thomas, 12th and 13th. They are both up 3 positions from where they started this evening. Ott trying to fend off Royce and Fletcher here. And it looks like the field's starting to tighten up a little bit. I was a little apprehensive after the first couple laps. I was thinking some of these guys were going to get separated, kind of check out, and it was going to be smooth sailing. But right now, these guys are putting on a great show for the fans at home. Again, we're watching a 3-truck battle for 6th. Not too far ahead, about a second and a half. That is Mike Thompson and Chuck Labano linked up. Oh, another moment for the 44 of Royce. Gets all sorts of loose. Clint Fletcher tries to capitalize. The number 8 can't find the clean track he's looking for. Here we go. Fletcher trying to show a wheel against Royce. So Royce has to be careful here. If he's having those big slides, that's going to put more heat in those rear tires, and it is going to get exponentially worse for the pilot of that Ford F-150. Once the heat builds up, these trucks are already a handful right now. See if we can grab an onboard from Clint Fletcher's number 8 machine. He's fallen back here a little bit against Royce. So I'm wondering if he spooled up the tires a little bit. Very easy on the downshifts, very smooth braking. Closes that gap right back up to Royce. You can see just ahead, Royce really fighting the truck there to keep that thing planted. So Royce has his hands full. He's got Fletcher right in tow. He's got Dan Ott ahead in the bright green number 29. Looked like Fletcher got a pretty good drive out of this corner. But while these three are battling, they are going to lose that 5th and 6th place pack. Brian Thomas has some sort of issues. And the number 12, I also saw report Laura Wiseman piloting the number 84 Chevrolet. She has some sort of issue. Backed by Valvoline. Looks like it's going to be a solo truck incident. Just misses the mark, pushes wide. But hey, no harm, no foul. Michael McCoy starting to check out your race leader. 3.1 seconds up over Dustin Bali. McCoy is cruising here. Last time by, he did a 1:44.09, a tenth slower than Bali. So I'll be curious to see what the lap times, what the tail is next time they come around. Further back in the field, looks like Brian Thomas, Sheik, and Went linked up. That is 12th, 13th, 14th. Oh, Stephen Shue join us in the spectator area. Good, always great seeing him. Would prefer to see Shue out on track, but hey, what do you do? Sometimes life just gets in the way. Right now, drivers clicking off about 144 flats. I believe the fastest lap we've seen is a mid 143 from Michael McCoy. Royce has really caught up to the back of Ott's 29 machine. They're still losing time to the top 4, but we are going to have that stage break. And my broadcast software is going nuts here. That looked like that was, I think, Thomas and Sheik with a little bit of bumper trucks. Let's see who maybe caused that one. So Sheik's the number 15 machine. And it looks like Brian Thomas just follows him in there. And a little bit of truck to truck contact, but hey, no harm, nothing malicious. Now, when I went through my race school as a wee young broadcaster, when I raced more than I broadcasted and announced, we were taught in our school, don't ever try and outbrake the guy next to you, because he might have the exact same plan. And I think that's what we saw between Sheik and Thomas there. And the reason they tell us that is if the guy next to you isn't going to brake until you brake, and you're not going to brake until he brakes, neither one of you is going to make the corner, and you're going to launch a motorcycle, a car, or whatever you're racing off track and find yourself in a precarious position. Penny a little bit further back up front. Brandon Brush trying to track down Dustin Bali in second, but he's got Mike Thompson Jr., that 115 machine, right behind. Some very clean trucks out here for the second race of the season. We had another crash report. It's going to be Dan Ott. Looks like that exact same chicane, and there goes Clint Fletcher to take over the 6th place position. Meanwhile, Sam Stoner and Tom Wint side by side in battle for 12th. Clint Fletcher has another bobble. Now it looks like it's going to be Dan Ott trying to close up behind. Just great racing all across the circuit here today. Now I'm waiting to see on live timing. It shows Mike Thompson really closing that gap up to Brandon Brush, kind of yo-yoing back and forth between a half second and 3/4 of a second, that battle for third. And right now the three closest drivers out on track are going to be Ott, Hubchak, and Royce. 7th, 8th, and 9th out on track. Now it looks like Royce keeping the pressure. Now he's down 3 spots in the 44, so we know he has pace, but it really looks like to me like he's used up a little bit more of those rear tires than he wanted to. We're only about 7 laps into this feature event. We're having a stage break on lap 19, so we're going to really reset the field for a final, almost a mini sprint towards the end, about an 8-lap sprint by the time the pit cycle is completed. Michael McCoy still with a strong 4.3 second lead over Dustin Bali. Bali has about a second over Brandon Brush in that 41. And man, that poor Mark Royce is really fighting that truck. Jay Bast also has an incident in the exact same corner. There's Michael McCoy rocking and rolling in that Blue Glove Racing back 33 Toyota. Last time by a 145.89, so I think drivers are really feeling the effects of tire here. Now, we were told what the fuel window was. We weren't really informed on maybe what the tire window would be. We're already seeing the lap time start to drop. I wonder if that's tire degradation we're seeing out of McCoy. I mean, McCoy and Bali, the top 2 drivers, both in the 145s. Their fastest was mid to low 143 second lap times. Brandon Brush again has company from Mike Thompson. The 2 Chevrolet drivers linked up 3rd and 4th. They're about 3 seconds back from the top 2, but only a half second separates the 2 of them. You can just see Dustin Bali out of frame. Now it looks like Sheik has taken a tow back to pit road, retiring the number 15 machine, so he is done and out of this one. And a reminder to the fans at home, go ahead and pin that. Pinned messages in the broadcast here is the Road and Plate Facebook page. You can follow all the updates, all the shenanigans, and get a heads up. And maybe if you're on the fence and iRacer looking to really do something unique, road courses and plate track racing, you too can get in on the action. And here we go. Mike Thompson trying to measure up Brandon Brush. Brush pushes a little bit wide there. Here comes Thompson. Takes over the 3rd place spot and works his way into that final podium position. Now I'm curious to see, are these 2 Chevrolet drivers going to be able to get something going and try and whittle away at that almost 4-second gap that Dustin Bali has over them here? Right now, Michael McCoy in a league of his own, 4.5 seconds up over Bali. The closest drivers we have out on track, that's going to be Dan Ott in 7th, Evan Hubchak in 8th. Four tenths separating those 2 drivers. Let's see, Hubchak looks like he's trying to get something settled and maybe lined up. Love the default paint that he's been running on that number 7 machine. I think I just saw a large burnout mark put down by Ott there. laying down some racing stripes here in Canada. Doesn't look like he loses much time, though. In fact, he's gained almost a couple of tenths over Hoopchok. Now 9 tenths separating the two. Labano in the 346 machine. He's holding on to the top 5. He's getting chased by Clint Fletcher. A half second separating these two. Fletcher is up 2 spots so far. Our Charger still Chris Winslow in the 45. He's up 3 positions, sitting 15th. Oh, is this going to be the exact same spot? Seems like a good passing opportunity. Fletcher not quite able to get lined up, but he is hunting for an opening. Just looking for an opportunity to stick the nose in against the 346 of Labano. I really like what I'm seeing from Fletcher here. He's exploring different lines on the track, kind of looking around. I mean, he's got a bunch of knowledge from Labano to see what's working well for that 346, but oh my! Fletcher trying to put the power down, still able to do it somehow. Got all sorts of out of shape there, but still completes the pass. Maybe a little bit too much throttle motivation there. And I wonder if he gets a slowdown. Labano taking back over the 5th place spot. They're side by side. Labano pulls about a half second back to his name. Fletcher's going to have to do it all over again. We just saw Dan Oss, number 29, Ford. And man, you can really tell these guys are really fighting to put the power down in these NASCAR trucks. I can't reiterate how easy these drivers are making it look. I've done a bunch of laps here on iRacing, and I've got to say, taking a machine designed for oval onto a road course, probably one of the most difficult things you can do, I would say. It seems like every time Fletcher gets something lined up, has a bit of issue under throttle, loses a few tenths of a second, gains it back up under braking. I wonder if Fletcher's trying to get Labano to maybe use up a little bit more tires ahead of that number 8 machine who's just stalking and waiting, the red, white, and blue on number 8 Toyota. I'm a little worried Fletcher's using up too much tire. Right on the bumper of Labano once more. Carrying a whole lot of slip angle at number 8. Looks like a good drive here within a tenth of a second of Labano. But I think Fletcher backs out of it a little bit there, opting to stay tucked in behind Labano. After his most recent off-track excursion through the chicane. Right now it's McCoy, Bali, Thompson, 1, 2, 3. With Brandon Brush and Chuck Labano rounding out the top 5. You're watching that battle for that 5th position on screen right now. The 2 closest drivers within a half second of each other. Let's call it 7 tenths now, is Labano and Fletcher. McCoy, your race leader, still maintaining a 4.5 second margin over Bali. Bali has his own 5 seconds over Mike Thompson, that 115 machine. Got about 7 laps left to go before our stage caution. We had another incident report. It's Jay Bast, and he's going to lose a spot to Laura Wiseman's 84 machine. Let's see what happened to Bast there. Another solo incident. Little bit of a grass touch there, and just gets the truck out of sorts. Trying to hold on to it, and Laura Wiseman says, yes sir, I'll take that spot the easy way. Fletcher doing everything he can. No, we've got about a half dozen laps until the stage break. The lap time's continuously increasing. McCoy, almost a 146 that time by. They're starting to fall off the pace. Labano and Fletcher, both right at a 148 flat, as I think they're using up a lot of tire racing against each other, and the defensive driving out of the two of them probably doesn't help the pace either. Labano still somehow fending off Fletcher. I think I see another battle starting to shape up. Jay Bast and Sam Stoner getting within a half second. Stoner, the number 65 Ford F-150, he's down one spot as well as Bast. Stoner takes it peek up to the inside line and makes it happen relatively clean. A little bit of a dip of an off track there. No, Stoner's going to throw it away under braking. There goes Bast, and Stoner is going to have an uphill battle once more in the 65. I think it's going to be a race of attrition here tonight in Canada. Stoner charging back. Bast did not get the drive he was looking for. Stoner's closing very quickly. They're going to be side by side. And look at that. Stoner makes it happen. As Jay Bast flat tracking the number 53 machine has the rear end wiggling all sorts of out of shape. Chris Winslow, a brief problem in that 45, but still holding on to the hard charger position, up 3 positions. He's going to be tied for that award with Laura Wiseman. She's up 3. The number 84 has worked her way up inside the top 10. And it is still the Michael McCoy show here in the 33. Did a 146 flat his last time by. There's Dustin Bally. He can see McCoy, and I can tell you as a racer, that'll help you get a little bit extra motivation, be able to see the driver in front of you, even if it's a 5-second gap. Gives you that carrot to chase and helps find a little bit of motivation to find some more pace, but this is going to be tough, I think, for Bally. Late into the run, the tires, I would say, are fairly used up here. I wish I knew the track temp that these drivers were on right now. Now we still have 16 of the 17 entries out on track. Gudger and Seraph did not start. Sheik retired about 6.5 laps in. Was not enjoying the road courses quite as much. Bally's staying very smooth, very consistent. Let's go back to McCoy. I think fairly soon, McCoy might be catching up to Keith Waldriff's number 58 machine. So that's going to be the first time, really the first time this season, we're going to see the blue flag come into play. There's McCoy, and there's Keith Waldriff. The Waldriff, I would imagine, is going to kind of give a little bit of an extra spot. There he goes, Waldriff, making room for the race leader. So well done there. Hopping out of the way of Michael McCoy. Dustin Bally will be the next driver having to cut through traffic. So looks like, I was looking at the lap times here, looks like neither McCoy or Bally lost too much time with traffic. So a huge thumbs up to the racers. They're going to be going a lap down here before we get to the stage end. right now, that's going to be 15 drivers still on the lead lap. I saw a crash report. Dan Ott had a couple of off tracks there. Doesn't lose any positions. That number 29 still holding on to 7th place. 15 laps left to go, but another incident. This time it's Clint Fletcher, who's running so strong, the number 8. There goes Dan Ott. He's going to move up into 6th. Ott holding on to it, sliding all around there. Let's see what happened to Fletcher. Does he dive in too deep? Maybe a premature shift. Loops out that number 8 machine, but very wisely waits for Ott to make his way around. And Evan Hoopchak's going to come down pit road on his lonesome before the stage caution. So I wonder if Hoopchak has damage or maybe has a penalty, I wonder. Let's take a little bit of a look here. Now, after every 17 incidents is when drivers will get a warning after 25 incidents. You'll be asked to park the truck, so those are automatically assigned and dictated by iRacing. Now, Hoopchak did come down pit road, a 16-second stop, so I'm wondering if he's thinking, hey, let's go ahead and put tires on this and set ourselves up for a good spot here after the stage break. But I would imagine everybody's going to come down pit road on the stage break, but maybe Hoopchak's trying something different on strategy. Michael McCoy, that's going to be Chris Winslow, the 45 machine. He's going to go down a lap, running 15th out on the track. Chris Winslow also down pit road after going a lap down. I'm wondering if these drivers are coming down a little bit early and maybe looking for the wave around at the stage break. It's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out. Something has happened. Jay Bass loses the spot to Tom Wynn. Happened very, very quickly there in the battle for 12th. I wonder if Bass had a slowdown. Oh, he's sliding all sorts out of shape in the 53, so I think that question was answered on how Tom Wynn was able to slide on by nice and easy there. Ott and Fletcher once again linked up in the battle for 6th, a half second separating the two. Winslow rolls out of pit road after a 4-tire stop. Laura Wiseman showing us coming down pit road in the 84. Sam Stoner also joining the pit road party, number 65. Your top 8 drivers all appear to be staying out. I would imagine those drivers are going to stay out until the stage break. But very interesting to see the different strategies coming into play. Just a couple of short laps before we will see the full course caution, bringing these drivers down pit road. Fletcher still holding on to about 3/10 up. A little bit of lap traffic ahead. That is going to be the 45 of Winslow. Oh, this is interesting. The top 3 are all down pit road. McCoy, Bally, Thompson. As well as Brandon Brush, Chuck Labano. But we have not seen the caution for the stage break. So I would imagine once the stage break is out, I don't think we're going to see these drivers come down pit road. It's a very busy pit road. The top 7, top 8 now as Mark Royce comes down pit road. All there together. McCoy in and out in 16.2 seconds. Bally gained some time in his pit stall. A 15.5-second stop. So as that pit cycle is finished, it's going to be McCoy, Bally, Thompson still 1, 2, 3. I'm showing Brandon Brush in 4th, Chuck Labano in 5th. And Bally's going to be within striking distance. He was almost 5 seconds back, now about 9/10 off the back of that 33 machine. Now I believe it's going to be at the end of the next lap. We're going to see the field come down pit road. Evan Hoopchak, that number 7, was one of the first drivers down pit road on lap 16. He has now worked his way up into 6th, so up 3 position. Brian Thomas, number 12, shows our hard charger up 4 spots. But Thomas, I believe, let me get verification. Yes, the only driver out on track, the number 12, who has not come down pit road yet. And there we go. The stage brake is going to be out. It's going to be McCoy, Bally, Thompson, 1, 2, 3, Brush, Labano rounding out the top 5. Now, I think the only driver that's going to come down pit road here is going to be Brian Thomas, the number 12. He's the only driver who has yet to box. But that will put a couple of lap newer tires underneath that Chevrolet. Wait to see if Brian Thomas comes down pit road. Surely he can't make it on fuel here. Now, right now, your top 3 out on track do not match up with the top 3 at points. As a reminder, coming into tonight, it was Brandon Brush, Mark Royce, Jay Bast. First, second, third in the points. Brandon Brush, your points leader, currently 4th on track. Mark Royce in 2nd. He is 9th out on track. 2nd in the championship, to clarify. And Jay Bast, 3rd in the championship points, currently sitting 14th out on the circuit. So this is what makes it interesting here at the Road and Plate Series. Also on Facebook, we've got big, wide open tracks. We've got pretty gnarly road courses. And a nice mix for everybody. Now next week we go to Norway. Rudskogen Motor Center, where I believe in his 40 laps, and a stage break on lap 27. And once we fire things back up the new year, we go back super speedway racing to Talladega Super Speedway, January 4th. Now, I have not seen Brian Thomas come down pit road yet. Looks like he's still catching up to the field here. And as I say that, it comes true. Thomas comes down pit road for his one scheduled stop of the evening. So I believe we're going to be green. Maybe in one more lap. I just saw somebody getting the wave around from behind our iRacing safety car. I think we're going to do one more lap under caution, then grid them up double file. I believe that's correct. Tom Went, Jay Bass, they're rolling out of pit road. There'll be the 3 drivers of Thomas, Went, Bass that came down pit road under caution. Let's see, are we about to get them gridded up double file? I believe it's going to be an 8-lap shootout. But I think this time by we'll set the field with McCoy, Bolly the front row, Thompson and Brusher second row. Labano and Hoopchak will make up the third row here. And for the curious fans at home, a lap time under caution here, about 2.5 minutes for these drivers to sit, collect themselves, rethink their life choices. As we tick the timing tower over, 9 laps left to go. We're going to grid these guys up double file. And then we're going to have an 8-lap shootout here. We're going to get the field set. I am surprised they're gridding up double file with this much left of the lap. We're not even halfway through the final pacing lap. So the iRacing safety car will be in this time by, and we're going to send them out and see how this is going to sort themselves out. McCoy has had the pace all race long, but now Bolly is going to be relinked. They're on the same tire strategy. Here we go, McCoy with a big launch. The green flag is out, the final time, the first road course of the Road and Plate Series. Now let's go a little bit further back, what I think might be a meat grinder here, and I was correct. This is from about 5th place back, where we're gonna see a little bit of bumping and grinding. What a beautiful overhead shot. There's Chuck Labano in the 5th place spot, being chased by the number 7 of Hoopchak. Hoopchak went for a bit of an undercut on before the stage break, valuing the track position more so than the fresher tires underneath them. And I just saw Brandon Brush get a whole lot of front grill from Chuck Labano. Labano wants to catch up to that top 3 that have already pulled a 1.3 second gap, but I don't think that Brush, I don't know, Labano right there behind. Labano looking for any opportunity he can here, but that 41 of Brush holding very, very strong. Now drivers have had a chance, even those that came in a little bit early, to cool down those tires. But the top 3, and they've already pulled a 1.7 second gap. Brandon Brush has the freight train behind him. Another battle looking up. Looks like Sam Stoner, Laura Wiseman linked up nose to tail. Right behind them, that's Tom Witt and Jay Bass, also in their own battle. Now we've seen plenty of solo truck incidents Thankfully, we haven't seen too much truck-on-truck contact, but Michael McCoy clicks off a 1:42.87, the new fastest lap of the race. Jay Bass, the 53, was looking around Tom Wendt, not quite able to make that pass happen. Now we go back a little bit further forward. Evan Upchak has Dan Ott and Clinton Fletcher right behind. That's three drivers that have spent a whole lot of time right by each other. 7 laps left to go. Round 2 of the series. Ahead of Upchak, that's that battle for 4th and 5th between Brandon Brush and Chuck Labano. It's still McCoy, Bali, and Thompson, your top 3, but something has happened to Tom Wendt as he is parked in a precarious position. There's Brian Thomas just ahead, number 12. So a little bit of carnage, a little bit of heartbreak here for our drivers. Let's see what happened to Wendt. He's in the predominantly black and red, number 28. There's Laurel Wiseman just ahead. Oh, Wendt loses it on his own. And it looks like Brian Thomas got offline, also pitches it around. Now Fletcher made that pass against Dan Ott while we were under replay. Mark Royce started to join the party here as well at the 44. Royce had extremely good pace on early in this event, but it seemed like tire management was a bit of an issue, maybe with this shorter sprint. Man, these drivers are hucking it over the curbing. Maybe with a shorter stint, we might see Mark Royce crawl his way back forward toward the front of the field. McCoy's pulled a 1 1/4 second gap over Dustin Bali. Something has happened to Keith Waldorf. He's down pit road. Waldorf, excuse me. Fletcher, that number 8 Toyota Tundra, he's up 1 spot. Hard Chargers out on track. Evan Hupchak in 6th, he's up 3 spots. Laura Wiseman in 10th, she's up 3 spots. And Chris Winslow in 15th, also up 3 spots. Fletcher looking for that second pass of the evening, 1/4 of a second off the back of Hupchak. Trying everything Fletcher can do to get around the bright yellow and blue number 7 and trying to make that pass happen because Dan Ott and Mark Royce right behind these two. And they can see Chuck Labano in 5th up ahead in that 346, pulling a bigger and bigger gap. Hupchak's going to try and guard that inside line, but here comes Fletcher, the red, white, and blue number 8 machine. It's going to be done under braking, and Fletcher makes it happen. Nice and clean there. That will be Fletcher's 2nd position gained as Hupchak falls back to 7th. Now it's going to be Dan Ott's turn to put the pressure on in that number 29 Ford. Speaking of Ford, Hupchak is still the fastest Ford out on track. Toyota running 1st and 2nd, Chevrolet running 3rd and 4th here tonight. Go. Production getting it queued up right in time. We're on board with Mark Royce. You were watching the big green mean bumper of Dan Ott right ahead as Ott's trying to put the pressure on Hupchak's number 7. Everybody lined up nice and tidy. 5 laps left to go. Round 2 of the season. McCoy, Bali, and Thompson want to get back in the title hunt here. We've got Track Day Chuck cheering on Dustin Bali, that number 24 machine running 2nd. And I don't see many bump and runs happen on a road course, but it looked like Ott was thinking about using the old chrome horn. Knowing Ott can't slow down too much. Mark Royce very hungry in that 44. I think that's Sam Webster cheering on the number 29 of Dan Ott. I think Ott really trying to make a pass here and get up into 7th. Hoopchak doing a great job trying to run defensive. We've seen a bunch of passes so far in this exact corner tonight, but it looks like Ott trying to put that power down. Looks like he's going to gain a little bit of drive here against that number 7, but just not quite enough. Looks also like Mark Royce has fallen back ever so slightly. Kind of watching this battle for 7th unfold in front of him, and it looks like they're reeling in Clint Fletcher. That number 8 Toyota Tundra was quite far ahead. They've whittled it down to 1.6 seconds, so I wonder if these three maybe working together here a little bit to try and get closer up to the front. Trying to force Hoopchak into a mistake. Hoopchak not having any of it. And now Royce has closed the gap back to within a quarter of a second. If Ott can't get this pass going that he's really hunting for, I think Royce is going to interject himself into the mix here. Knowing the laps are rapidly closing, a little bit of a mistake from Ott, but that's going to slow down Royce as well. And if you spin those tires up, it kind of really affects the drive. There's Mark Royce looking for an opening. Not able to find it. These three drivers running 7th, 8th, and 9th are so incredibly equal on pace. Everybody just hoping for a mistake out of the driver ahead. About 8 seconds back, it looks like Laura Wiseman. She's got company from Sam Stoner as well as Jay Bast. Wiseman piloting her Valvoline back number 84 Chevrolet, getting chased by both a Ford and a Toyota here, as it looks like Bast is going to get that spot from Stoner. And Wiseman, she's going to get a bit of a breakaway here, now 1.4 seconds up, as Stoner keeps the pressure on the 53 of Bast. Checking back in up front, Michael McCoy holding about a 3/4 of a second advantage over Dustin Bali. Bali doing a good job staying in the fight, but I think maybe running out of laps here to make something happen. Labano and Fletcher can't get away from each other in the battle for 5th. Fletcher's up 2 spots from where he qualified. Labano in that 3.46 running exactly where he started. The road course is so extremely difficult to pilot around quickly on. From my perspective, it's tough just to turn a lap on these things. And these guys going at it. Labano has pressure. Here comes Fletcher within a 10th. Fletcher looks to the inside line, has the nose chopped off, backs out of it to try and set up the corner. And Labano is going to defend as long as he possibly can here. This is getting very, very good here. Just a couple of short laps left to go for these Racing Titans. Can Fletcher set up anything against that 3.46, the current fastest Canadian out on track? Chuck Labano, Michael McCoy I think Bali must have had some sort of incident. He's pulled a 3.4-second gap. McCoy has over Bali, and something has happened to Laura Wiseman as well. She loses a spot to Jay Bast after an off-track excursion in her number 84 machine. Just lights up the rears. Oh, I think got a little bit of a helping hand there. I think that was Sam Stoner. Gave a little bit of a tap there to Wiseman, sent her around. The white flag is out for Michael McCoy. He's got a very comfortable 3.2-second margin over Bali. Bali about 1.8 seconds up over Mike Thompson. Hold on to that final podium spot. A half lap left to go for Michael McCoy. I believe he's led every lap so far here tonight. And Michael McCoy, hands down and away, the fastest driver. Over a half second faster, his fastest lap than any other driver out on circuit. There was Dustin Bali. Here we go, coming underneath the bridge. And is that Mike Thompson? I think it is. Yeah, Thompson closing the gap up here to Bali. But the checkered flag will fly. And Michael McCoy will win the first road course of this season. Dustin Bali will get second. And Mike Thompson Jr. will round out the top three. Driver's gonna live it up here. A little bit of Canada drifting for the fans at home. Michael McCoy really enjoying the win. And we're gonna get these three drivers up here into the waiting room. That's gonna be Michael McCoy, Dustin Bali, and Mike Thompson Jr. Looks like we've got everybody lined up and ready to go. So we're going to start with Mr. Mike Thompson piloting that number 115 machine. Mike, a great qualifying, gained one spot in the race, and looked like you were starting to close the gap in those final laps.
Yeah, I was definitely trying. The tires were just gone. We were on our other chat, we were joking. It was like movie theater butter underneath the tires.
Yeah,
Just really hot.
it
Yep.
seemed like after 6 laps or so, it was the same for everybody. It seemed like everybody was really fighting the rear tire there. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, was it 5 or 6 laps where you get more before they got super greasy?
It was to be honest, I think it was about 4 laps into 5 laps, and that's when they were toast. There was a huge drop off, and then from there you kind of recover a little bit. But man, after that initial drop, it was so bad.
Well, first road course of the season. Got to be happy to get some solid points for you in that 115 machine. And what were your overall impressions the first road course of the season? And did it meet the expectations you were looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I put in a ton of practice this week because I thought it would be one of my strengths being a road course guy. So I know we got a lot of oval guys, but no, really happy with third place. And what a great race. I mean, we didn't really have any incidents or anything, so really clean racing, and the competition is fierce. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
I am as well, Mike. Always a pleasure having you up here. The first time this season, I believe. But before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to that helped bring home a podium spot for you and the guys here today?
Want to first thank the team, Frito Sport, Edgar, Chuck, Tom, Clint, all the guys. We've been working really hard together. So the team, and then any of my family if they're watching. So other than that, no, great race. Looking forward to next week.
Awesome, Mike. Always a pleasure, and hope to have you back up here next week as well, my friend.
All right, thank you.
That was Mike Thompson bringing it home in third. Up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Dustin Bally, the number 24 Toyota. Dustin, first road course clicked off of the series, second round of the series, and some much-needed points for you in that 24.
Yeah, man, it feels great. Yeah, congratulations to Michael McCoy on a great win, and Mike Thompson there, who was hanging with us at the end. Yeah, it was a tough race. A lot of guys did a lot of practice, and so we kind of knew where people were gonna sit pace wise. But yeah, second's a great result. Michael was super fast. We were in radio chat together, and honestly, once he had the pole, I wasn't really going to challenge him. I felt like I could run with him a little bit. I maybe was 1 to 2 tenths off. And then both before and after the stage break, I got a slowdown bouncing over the Wall of Champions chicane. So it was an eventful day, but no, I'm super thrilled with second. These guys are all super fast, and to finish where I did, it means a lot.
Probably, I think, the cleanest road course with oval cars, or trucks in this case, I think I've ever seen. So, yeah, it was very apparent that the drivers put in a lot of practice leading up to this one.
Yeah, and I kind of got on the horn to him about it. The whole point of this league, it was created I wanted to facilitate close, clean racing, and you can't really do that if you're spinning around and running into each other. So, and then we do have some kind of harsh penalties for guys who do cause incidents. But I tell you what, I'm super impressed with everyone who showed up and drove. They're all really, really good, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds.
Yeah, I was super impressed with it as well. We've got a road course next week. What's going to change as far as strategy or anything? Or are you going to stay the course and see what happens and just get ready for next week?
Yeah, so I'm going to be on vacation, unfortunately. So I get to watch your broadcast from my hotel room next week. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with the pit strategy, because I really thought that how you were going to do after that stage break really depended on who was going to pit before and then during the stage break, and no one pit during the stage break, so it was really surprising. So I guess that's just how it's going to be. I think maybe some people might try it, but if you're running up in the top 5-10, you really don't want to risk being shuffled down past all the people who've pitted. It's just too hard to make up in a handful of laps. So we'll see what happens in the rest of the season. I just hope for no crashes, no incidents, and that everyone has a good time. That's our goal.
Well, it seemed like it worked out very well for you. I know you're pleased both as a racer and a league admin. And Dustin, before I let you go and celebrate with the rest of the hooligans, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make this second place possible for you?
Well, I have to thank you for broadcasting. You are our MVP for the moment. We appreciate your broadcasting. I got to give a shout out to Michael McCoy, who I was in the chat with, and Sam Stoner. Those guys were a lot of fun and kept me grounded and focused on the goal. And then people supporting me at home. I guess wife Rebecca is always my biggest cheerleader. Parents Tom and Deb. Anyone else who's watching, I appreciate it. And then to the guys who didn't show up tonight, I think it was Phil Keck, and then a couple other guys, Steven and Chris, who unfortunately couldn't make it, but hopefully we'll see them back for the next one. But I'm so thankful for how these first two races have turned out, and I hope that both the audience at home continues to grow and that our league continues to grow, and that the guys are happy. It means everything.
Well, you got something unique here. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and thank you for having me. And I know we won't have you in the booth next week, but maybe we'll get you on the hotel Wi-Fi. Join us in the booth for a lap or two.
I would love that. That sounds great.
Awesome. Well, Dustin, thank you as always, buddy, and hope to have you back up here very soon.
Thank you, James. Have a great night. Thank you for everything.
You as well, bud. That was Dustin. He's so nice, isn't he? Up next, we've got the man of the hour, Michael McCoy, the number 33 machine. Michael qualified on pole, just kind of checked out, and looked like nobody else had anything for you here in Canada.
It wasn't as easy as it looked, man. Dustin and Mike Thompson, they had me under pressure the whole way, trying to keep me honest. I was just trying to hold on.
Well, Michael, it seemed like it worked out well for you. Now, a lot of the drivers were saying, man, this track and truck got very slippery. What were you doing to kind of mitigate that over the run? Because I think tire fall off was not something I was expecting in the booth, but seemed to hit everybody very, very hard here.
Yeah, I was expecting it based on my long runs in practice, and pretty much I just got to the point where I was just trying to underdrive all of the entries, to save the tires and just try to make up as much time on the exits, and it just paid off for me there.
And Michael, I've done a little bit of peeking, a little bit of broadcast research, if I will. You're a road course guy. It seems like through and through, not a lot of oval experience. Is that correct from what I'm seeing?
Yeah, last week at Daytona was my second or third oval race ever, but it's a bunch of guys in the league who are coaching me, so hopefully I'll be a little bit quicker at Talladega.
That's going to be a lot of fun for me to watch. Now, with you being kind of a road guy through and through, what are you normally running? Surely it's not NASCAR trucks, right?
No, not NASCAR trucks. What attracted me to this league is just I'm a big V8 supercar fan, and this was like the closest thing I could find to like a U.S. based league of that type. And so I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. So I'm just living out my my SVG dreams over here.
Well, hey, man, I'm glad it's working for you. It's super cool to have you in the booth for the first time this season. I know you're going to do well at the road courses throughout the year. Super excited for you to learn the chess that is oval racing throughout the season. But going to be a lot of fun. I'm super pumped to have you up here the first time this season. Hopefully many more to come. And, Michael, for the first time for you this season, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped to make this big win possible for you?
Yep, I just want to thank my wife and my son for allowing me to do this hobby. Dustin for putting this league together. It's a great league. Hopefully we still get a big turnout as the season progresses, and you for running an awesome broadcast, and all of the guys who put on a clean race.
Awesome. Michael, so thank you so much. Welcome to the large dysfunctional family of both the Road and Plate Stock Car Series as well as the Team Goon Squad podcast. Very glad to have you and hope to have you back up here throughout the year, my friend.
Thank you.
That was Michael McCoy bringing it home the top spot, his first win of the season in that number 33 Toyota Tundra. He was accompanied by Dustin Bally, the number 24, finishing second, and Mike Thompson Jr. finishing third. On behalf of the Road and Plate series that you can find on Facebook, linked in the broadcast chat as well, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.